Hey everyone, certainly hope you're doing well out there. Now then, Billy Duffy, The Cult, and their fabulous kick-ass 1987 album, Electric. Now, it's certainly a rarity in rock and roll music for a successful established band to pull off a major shift in their musical direction, and then go on to find even greater success with that new sound and style. For sure, it happens, but like I said, it's not very common. For one thing, you're alienating a heck of a lot of the fans that made you successful in the first place, with the hope of pulling in far more newer fans than those that you left behind. A bold strategy for sure, because for a band it's almost like starting over, and who wants to do that once you've found a formula that works and one that has gained you a fairly substantial level of success? Well, The Cult wanted to do it, and it obviously worked out for them in spades. Coming off the breakthrough success of their second album, 1985's Love, an album that could best be described as an atmospheric and psychedelic guitar-driven post-punk, new wave goth 80s alt-rock affair. Now, I know that's a lot of descriptors, but I think those descriptions pretty much nail the tone of this album fairly well. It was a brilliant album for sure, and an album that I personally am a huge fan of. Regardless, but then, completely out of the blue, with their follow-up Electric 2 years later, we got a completely stripped down and heavily AC/DC inspired straight-ahead hard rock album. With producer Rick Rubin now at the helm, it was a deliberate attempt by the band to leave behind their post-punk, goth, alt-rock sound, or as Rick Rubin put it, that pussy English music, and see if they could make a play at more of a classic hard rock sound that was absolutely exploding all over the world at this point in the mid to late 80s. Rubin had put it to the band upon agreeing to produce the album, what do you guys think of classic rock? Do you like early Led Zeppelin? Do you like early Aerosmith? Do you like AC/DC? Well, let's do that. That's the direction that we're going to take this band. The band, of course, agreed and set to work reinventing themselves, shelving Love's follow-up album entitled Peace in the process, an album that was already recorded and in the can back in England. However, it was an album that the band were very unhappy with and reluctant to release the way it was. Obviously, this shift worked a charm for The Cult, and Electric would go on to sell over 3 million copies, and in the process break the band in America and in numerous other markets which their previous album, Love, had failed to do. Now, if there's one thing that stands out about Electric, and the thing that propels and drives this album hard from start to finish, it's Billy Duffy's guitar riffs. Simple, straight ahead, to the point, effective as hell hard rock guitar riffs. A formula that AC/DC had mastered by this point, and Billy Duffy and the Cult wanted in on that action, and they brought their game with full force on Electric. AC/DC comparisons abounded at the time of its release. Still do, I suppose. But hey, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, and if you want to join the big boys at the top of the rock and roll food chain in 1987, you could do a hell of a lot worse than emulating the formula that put AC/DC at or near the top of that rock and roll food chain throughout much of the 70s and 80s. Alright then, that's about all I've got to say about The Cult's Electric for now. Please check out my riff video, which covers all of the great riffs from this album in sequence. I'll post it below in the description box if you'd like to have a look. In the coming days, I'll be posting a tutorial video on how to play all of these great riffs from this classic album, so keep an eye out for that if that's something that may interest you. I'll link to that video in the description box as well once it's complete. I hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, wherever that may be, and take care of yourselves, those around you, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.